Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 9th of March 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1. Well, it's hard to do well when some of the biggest companies on the bourse are trading ex-dividend. That's the cut-off day for receiving the dividends announced during the earnings season. So if you bought shares in BHP, CSL or Rio Tinto today, you won't be getting the upcoming dividend. If you bought them yesterday, you will. With that as background, the S&P ASX 200 had a pretty good day, finishing up ever so slightly to 7,311 points. The 3 ex-div stocks all ended lower. BHP was off 2.2%, CSL was down 2.2% as well, and Rio fell 3.7%. Otherwise, the banks were pretty good, so too the energy companies and some of the tech stocks, with WiseTech Global up 2.5%. Story number 2, there's some interesting stuff going on in global bond markets at the moment. Because the Reserve Bank of Australia has made it clear it's thinking about pausing rate hikes, and the Federal Reserve is thinking about undertaking more rate hikes, the difference in bond yields or returns in the two countries has diverged. Remember, bond yields reflect interest rate expectations. At the moment, a 10-year Australian note is yielding 30 basis points below the US equivalent. Now, that gap hasn't been that large since March 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. Story number 3, shares in ASX lithium favourites Piedmont Lithium and Atlantic Lithium were put into a trading halt today after a US-based short seller alleged Atlantic acquired a mining licence in Ghana by, and I quote, textbook corruption. London Stock Exchange listed shares of Atlantic Lithium fell more than 30% overnight as investors reacted to short activist Blue Orca's claims that Ghana's parliament may not approve Atlantic's lithium mine licenses because of corruption, according to a report in the Financial Review. Now, Blue Orca alleges Atlantic's payments to the son of a high-level politician for mining licenses is textbook evidence of corruption. Blue Orca says Piedmont committed in July 2021 to invest nearly $16 million for nearly 10% of Atlantic and up to $87 million in the Ghana project in exchange for lithium spodumene offtake rights at market value for the life of the mine. Not accessing Atlantic's Ghana supply will hit Piedmont hard, the activist investor claims. Both companies, Atlantic and Piedmont, are likely to respond to those claims in coming days. Story number 4, the federal government is scrapping COVID-19 testing requirements for travellers from China. Pre-departure screening was introduced in early January following moves by a number of countries amid concerns that Beijing was not forthcoming with COVID-19 data about potential new variants. Today, Health Minister Mark Butler said testing requirements would no longer apply to people arriving from China, Hong Kong and Macau from Saturday. And finally, story number 5, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell was speaking overnight, and he stressed that policymakers have not yet made up their minds on the size of their interest rate increases later in the year, and it will hinge on incoming data, particularly around jobs and inflation. The Fed chief repeated his message from Tuesday that the US central bank is likely to take rates higher than previously anticipated, and that it could move at a faster pace if economic data keeps coming in hot. His comments came as Canada's central bank hit pause on rate rises. It was the first time in 9 meetings that the Canadian central bank hasn't lifted the benchmark overnight, and the Bank of Canada becomes the first major central bank to hit pause. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 9th of March 2023. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.